Right, you join me again at a well-known coffee establishment. I'm currently at Hexham, and I'm about to do the second half of my journey. I am halfway, pretty much. Almost exactly halfway, I think. If I'd gone the quick route up the M6 and then up the A7, then I would actually be home by now in the borders. However, I'm doing this route because I want to, so I'm halfway. So we shall set off. And we'll go the correct way around here because why not? Not through the drive-through, don't need that. There's a bit of a funny rearrangement here for getting out the place, but it is what it is. It's getting a bit dark now. Cloudy. I sense there may be some precipitation ahead. Now I could go that way to the left, I have done that before, but that is rather circuitous. Good job I didn't go down there. And with the route that you take there, unless you know what you're doing, it's not ideal. Wow, that is a massive excavation. They weren't wrong when they said major works. So actually, in a way, it's nice to see genuinely major works actually happening, as opposed to having signs warning you that there's going to be major works and there aren't. But no, grand. Splendid. A68, sharp bends, sudden crests. Just what we like. last 3 years, 75 accidents. Take care. I will, thank you. Yeah, these are the sorts of gradients where you realise a 1.4 Astra is not not overly incredible in terms of performance. There's 5th gear, there we go, and that's top gear. It's fine for non-motorway driving, but to be honest, on motorways, I'd rather like a 6th gear on this car. Because when you're at 70, you're at 3,500 revs. That road to the left there is one that I would have come out of if I'd gone that shortcut. But it wouldn't be a shortcut, it would take me 3 or 4 times as long because of the nature of the road. You probably can't pick up the sounds on the video, but there are some interesting sounds at times. But it's not banging and clonking as much as it did now that I've had the rear springs replaced and one of the shock absorbers has gone as well. I've had a broken spring on the front before as well, so in the year I've had it, just over a year, I've had 3 springs replaced. I'm kind of waiting for the 4th one to go now, to be honest. The first one went just after I got it. I've done some work to it myself, aside from the stuff that needed to be done to get it to MOT, which was nearly £500 of work, which was not ideal. But I did do some additional work myself first that I could do to lower the costs somewhat. I replaced the battery, which was, well, should be an easy job. However, the clamp that holds the battery in, the nut that the bolt screws into, is captive in the plastic tray. Unfortunately, it was no longer quite as captive as it needed to be. To the extent that the nut was just spinning within the plastic, but it was still captive enough that it took a lot of effort and some considerable violence in a workshop to remove that brass nut from the plastic. But I got it done, put a new stainless and bolt, and that's good. The more major thing I did myself was I replaced the valve cover gasket, which had developed a leak. So I bought the replacement gasket and did that myself too. So just very slightly taking the top of the engine off. Only the valve cover though, not the actual, not the head or anything. But it was interesting to see inside the top of the engine, see the valves and the cams, and I was surprised at just quite how wee my timing chain is. It's basically the size of a bicycle chain, but just more sturdily built. It's thicker gauge steel, but yeah, quite entertaining. The only thing is, this car is at nearly 143,000 miles right now. And it's probably never had the timing chain replaced. And I don't have the service history from before I owned it, so I have no idea. Probably hasn't been done. And you know, going forward in the long term, if I'm thinking of keeping this car going rather than finding another one, then I probably ought to get the chain replaced, because it is a bit rattly at times. but it seemed to feel tight when I had the valve cover off. You wait there, please. Thank you. So perhaps it's all right. Or perhaps this was worn to the extent that the tensioner doesn't have any more travel on it. I don't know. I don't know. In any case, it probably should be done, but that's more expense, which is not so easy at the moment. However, if the chain does catastrophically go, i.e. it snaps, that's the only way it's going to catastrophically go, in that instance the engine would be FUBAR'd, which is sort of a colloquial acronym for fecked up beyond all recognition. I should use the term feck. I shall go to Father Ted terminology for that one. Yeah, so if the chain does snap, then that is the engine written off. Because it is an interference engine. When the valves depress to their lowest point in the head, they actually protrude slightly into the cylinder bore. At that time, of course, the piston is not there, the piston is at the other end of the cylinder. But if the chain breaks and timing goes, the valves may come into contact with the pistons, and that will ruin the engine. So, there we go. But hopefully it won't happen. So it doesn't have any problems in terms of timing, or particularly rough running, or there's no misfires at all. There's a very slightly rough idle, but it's not horrendous. But there's no actual timing issues that are noticeable. So, and I think you do get a bit of warning before it breaks if you experience misfires and poor timing. That is definitely the time to get it changed. But no such issues as yet. Another relatively minor thing I did as well myself prior to MOT, which was I replaced the boot switch, or more correctly the tailgate switch as it's known, because the previous one, the micro switch, had started playing up, and it got to the point where it failed completely to the extent that I'd be driving along and the boot would randomly unlock itself. It wouldn't open up because obviously there's the weight of the door itself. But I'd sort of finished my journey and find that the boot was actually unlatched because the micro switch was knackered. So I got a whole new switch unit off eBay, genuine General Motors part. Because although it's a the brand is Vauxhall, the car is essentially General Motors, and the engine, I believe, is a General Motors engine. So it was a genuine part when I got a full switch assembly. But before I put it in, I did swap. There's a plastic paddle within the assembly that is actually what actuates the micro switch. That plastic paddle is covered in a protective rubber seal on the outside of the unit, and that's the bit you press. The old one although the micro switch was knackered, the old one had a metal paddle. So I swapped that because the replacement switch had a plastic one, and I foresaw issues with that plastic paddle itself wearing out. So I swapped the paddles over, but yeah, it's, oh dear, there we go. It would help if there wasn't somebody really pushing me up my boot. I replaced the tailgate switch as well as the valve cover gasket and the battery. And I had the two front tyres replaced as well, and one of them transposed over to the back. But it did still need a reasonable amount of work to pass MOT, which was disheartening. But it had to be done, and it was still cheaper than finding an alternative car. So there we go. Right, come on car, get up the hill. This will be when the timing chain goes. Shouldn't joke about it, because if that happens I will be without a car, and I can't get to work without a car. So I shouldn't joke. There you go. Not the cleverest place to overtake there, fella, given the crest ahead, but you filled your boots. I'm happy for you. It is rather nice when somebody like that does finally overtake, because it's a nice feeling. It's relieving knowing that the motorist behind you is no longer attempting to give you a colonoscopy. It's brightening up again. Look at this. What a route. It's a boot, I just thought. The rubber sleeve over the tailgate switch unit. It's a boot, it's a rubber boot. That would be the term. I think that's the best term I can think of anyway. A protective rubber boot. Look at this. I mean, you can easily see how people will go stupid and speed on these roads. But there's no need. If you need to get somewhere in that much of a hurry, then set off earlier. 4,000 revs. Ooh, that's the highest I usually have this. I've very rarely had it above 4,000 revs. Although curiously, the power band at which the power is measured, is rated, is actually at about 5,000 revs. I think it's 4.5 to 5.5 or 5 to 6, something like that. That's where they measure the maximum output. But certainly, being in a a high mileage engine, I don't want to get it up that high. I think I've had it up to 5,000 once or twice. Just when really accelerating away at a junction, that kind of thing. But in general, it never peaks above 4,000. Not what I'm being particularly interesting right now, if this bit is not sped up and you can hear this correctly. But I am autistic, so there we go. I will give you potentially useless information. Rochester! Well, there's definitely more than one Rochester in the UK, because obviously there's the big Rochester, Doonsouf. But I think I probably prefer this Rochester bit, to be fair. It's a bit less peoply. Not that people are in any way bad. Well, actually, many people are bad. There are some nasty people in the world, but in general, no, people are good. People are very good. It's just the sheer volume of people. Last cafe in England. Fantastic. Well, that means only one thing. It means that we're nearly home. Well, I say nearly. Probably another hour yet, but we are nearly home. I.e. Scotland. Well, it's turned out nicer than I thought it would. It was looking like it was going to rain, but up here actually it's rather nice. And I just remembered just now that I bought a coffee in Hexham and I've still got most of it left. Yeah, it's still pretty warm, it's alright. I'm one of those strange people that doesn't mind drinking cold coffee, cold tea and coffee. I really don't mind. I can start a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and finish drinking it 3 hours later. I'm one of those people. It's rather windy. That is hitting my fuel consumption somewhat. Pretty much, I think I average about 40-45 miles a gallon. At the moment, the display is pretty much at 30. This headwind. Yep, now it's at 22. Brilliant. Never mind. Still glorious day though. Splendid afternoon. Kielder. Reedsdale Forest? Redesdale? Somebody will know. I I'm sure many people know, but not me. Think of all the people on the motorways and dual carriageways right now getting stressed with each other, and compare that to this. It really does pay. If you've got the time, it pays to use these routes instead. It really does. It pays kind of psychologically and emotionally. It assists with your general emotional well-being, enjoying these sorts of routes. Well, it does for me anyway. I may not be able to afford an incredible car, but it doesn't matter. I've got a box on wheels that works, does the job. That is the most glorious sight, that sign right there coming into view. Welcome to Scotland. Beordig Alba, or some such. I mean no offence by my likely incorrect pronunciation. A view. Brilliant. It's a bit windy. And there's my car.